All right, that's better. Oh, let's see here. So we just had actual prophecy, right? That in that last section. Um, Now, as far as prophecy is concerned, where would I fit this prophecy um, with all the other prophecies? Um, I would do so the following. First of all, earlier in the text, he was basically prophesying a time where the righteous will, be righteous, and you'll have this reversal. Um, and this is, when he's talking about the saved, he's talking about the good people after the time of the reversal. These good people are going to be living, just much better lives, in fact, there's, I believe in some of the prophecies of the Torah, because I, I think this is a banned book, but in some of the prophecies of the Torah, it basically says the same thing, It's like, after the Jews are victorious at the end, they're just going to be more chill, right? Because this book is a total rejection of, Phoenician total sacrifice as a way of sociological life. Um, and they're just going to be more chill and happy. And he's like, it's not fair. It's not fair that these good people after the reversal are going to be living just better lives, and but all the rest of us have to suffer and toil, but we're just still as good, right? And that was the whole thing about the saved. So I think this prophecy refers to the time of the reversal. Like you can have this eagle, um, and the lion, and then after that you're gonna have the period of the saved, right? So this prophecy is very specific to this book, right? This is about a specific point in history, because the story continues, right? After after the reversal, there is a prophesied time of 1,000 years. And it's not exactly 1,000 years, it's a thousand years plus. Now, Nostradamus' son asked his dad when the world would end, apparently. And Nostradamus wrote back and said it's 3,300 or 3,600. So this supposed prophecy of the eagle and the lion, which is a very detailed prophecy as far as prophecies are concerned, this eagle thing, with the heads and the wings, right? Um, very, very specific. Um, but yeah, that hasn't happened yet, and after it happens, there'll be the 1,000 years plus, and then there will be the end times, right? And this book basically confirms that. He's like, he says at the end there, he's after the whole lion eagle stuff, he's like, and then they will be ushered into, until the end of times, right? Um, Whenever that will be. Now, the end of times refers to not the end of humanity, but it refers to the end of the age, right? So this eagle lion thing is not going to end the age. We're still going to have to go through this age. And if I had to characterize the ages from, like, even from what we've seen in the text, there were points where he said something like the age to come is more blessed, right? Um, And so I would say that we're living in the age of unrighteousness, and humanity will move over more towards an age of righteousness. Um, which, I mean, doesn't even necessarily mean you're going to have like utopia, peace amongst humanity type stuff, because um, this age of righteousness can have a double meaning in that the evil folk themselves can be very righteous, and so you're going to see a lot of epic battles between good versus evil in the age of righteousness. Um, anyways, because the story always continues, right? But according to these prophecies, there's all of our individual stories, but there's also this like meta story that's happening, right? Almost. So that's where I would put it. And why doesn't because you have this period of 1,000 years of the saved, right? This is the saved after this lion legal thing. You have the saved. Um, so there's this period of saved within the age of unrighteousness. And you'd be thinking, well, I mean, that should right there end the age, right? Because people are going to be just not putting up with a bunch of BS. Um, and it doesn't, because there's still one more lesson to learn before the end of the age. And that lesson will be taught during this time of what in the Western tradition is called the Antichrist. But I've heard prophecies from all over the world that refer to this figure, this same figure that in the Western world you call the Antichrist. And the Antichrist, when he's confronted, the humanity will learn this lesson about the sacred and the intimacy of Yahweh. And I think after this time of anyways, let's keep going. Doop doop doo. When all the people heard that the 7 days were past, and I had not returned to the city, they all gathered together from the least to the greatest, and came to me and spoke to me, saying, How have we offended you? And what harm have we done you, that you have forsaken us and sit in this place? For of all the prophets, you alone are left to us, like a cluster of grapes from the vintage, and like a lamp in a dark place, and like a haven for a ship saved from a storm. Are not the evils which have befallen us sufficient? Therefore, if you forsake us, how much better it would have been for us if we also had been consumed in the burning of Zion. For we are no better than those who died there, and they wept with a loud voice. Then I answered them and said, Take courage, O Israel, and do not be sorrowful, O house of Jacob, for the Most High has you in remembrance, and the Mighty One has not forgotten you in your struggle. As for me, I have neither forsaken you nor withdrawn from you, but I have come to this place to pray on account of the desolation of Zion, and to seek mercy on account of the humiliation of our sanctuary. Now go, every one of you, to his house, and after these days I will come to you. So the people went into the city, and as I told them to do. But I sat there in the field 7 days, as the angel had commanded me, and I ate only of the flowers of the field, and my food was of plants during those days. So, like, you have him praying and fasting, and then the angel comes up and, holds him, lifts him up, and stands them on their feet, and that's what's happening in his response to them, right? He's holding them. Take courage. Do not be sorrowful. He's holding them. And then he stands them on their feet. And so, I mean, interestingly enough, I think, that this is talking about what I was just talking about with the prophecy stuff. I mean, they are coming to him as if he's this mediator between them and God, and he's basically saying, no, go fucking worship him on your own. Leave me alone. Shit. I'm eating flowers and eating plants. Now he does it more politely, but. I mean, I think he's really talking about what is the role of a rabbi. The rabbi is not there to control lives, right? The rabbi is there to, it sounds like just be an eternal bachelor, right? From what I'm getting here. But, I think he is, I keep seeing this freedom message, right? I mean, he's not there to control them. Although he will for mercy's sake. After 7 days I dreamed a dream in the night, and behold, a wind arose from the sea and stirred up all its waves. And I looked, and behold, this wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. And I looked, and behold, that man flew with the clouds of heaven. And wherever he turned his face to look, everything under his gaze trembled. And whenever his voice issued from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it feels the fire. After this I looked, and behold, an innumerable multitude of men were gathered together from the four winds of heaven to make war against the man who came up out of the sea. And I looked, and behold, he carved out for himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. And I tried to see the region or place from which the mountain was carved, but I could not. After this I looked, and behold, all who had gathered together against him. To wage war with him, were much afraid, yet dared to fight. And behold, when he saw the onrush of the approaching multitude, he neither lifted his hand nor held a spear or any weapon of war. But I saw only how he sent forth from his mouth as it were a stream of fire, and from his lips a flaming breath, and from his tongue he shot forth a storm of sparks. All these were mingled together, the stream of fire and the flaming breath and the great storm, and fell on the onrushing multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them all up, so that suddenly nothing was seen of the innumerable multitude, but only the dust of ashes and the smell of smoke. When I saw that, I was amazed. After this I saw the same man come down from the mountain, and call to him another multitude, which was peaceable. Then many people came to him, some of whom were joyful and some sorrowful. Some of them were bound, and some were bringing others as offerings. Then in great fear I awoke. I besought the Most High and said, From the beginning thou hast shown thy servant these wonders, and hast deemed me worthy to have my prayer heard by thee. Now show me also the interpretation of this dream, for as I consider it in my mind, alas, for those who will be left in those days, and still more, alas, for those who are not left. For those are not left will be sad. Because they understand what is reserved for the last days, but cannot attain it. But alas, for those who are left, and for that very reason, For they shall see great dangers and much distress, and these dreams as these dreams show. Yet it is better to come into these things, though incurring peril, than to pass from the world like a cloud and not see what shall happen in the last days. He answered me and said, I will tell you the interpretation of the vision, and I will also explain to you the things which you have mentioned. As for what you said about those who are left, this is the interpretation. He who brings the peril at that time will himself protect those who fall into peril. He who brings the peril at that time will himself protect those who fall into peril, who have works and have faith in the Almighty. Understand, therefore, that those who are left are more blessed than those who have died. This is the interpretation of the vision. As for your seeing a man come up out of the heart of the sea, this is he whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages, who will himself deliver his creation, and he will direct those who are left. As for your seeing wind and fire and a storm coming out of his mouth, and as for his not holding a spear or weapon of war, yet destroying the onrushing multitudes which came to conquer him, this is the interpretation. Behold, the days are coming when the Most High will deliver those who are on earth, and bewilderment of mind shall come over those who dwell on the earth. And they shall plan to make war against one another, city against city, place against place, people against people, and kingdom against kingdom. And when these things come to pass, and the signs occur which I showed you before, then my Son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man coming up from the sea. And when all the nations hear his voice, every man shall leave his own land and the warfare that they have against one another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw, desiring to come up and conquer him. But he will stand on the top of Mount Zion, and Zion will come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built. But as you saw the mountain carved out without hands, he, my Son, will reprove the assembled nations for their ungodliness. This was symbolized by the storm, and he will reproach them to their face with their evil thoughts and the torments with which they are to be tortured, which were symbolized by the flames, and will destroy them without effort by the law, which was symbolized by the fire. And as for your seeing him gather to himself another multitude that was peaceable, these are the 10 tribes which were led astray from their own land into captivity in the days of King Hoshea, whom Shalmaneser, the king of the Assyrians, led captive. He took them across the river, and they were taken into another land, but they formed this plan for themselves, that they would leave the multitude of nations and go to a more distant region where mankind had never lived, that there at least they might keep their statutes, which they had not kept in their own land. And they went in by narrow passages of the Euphrates River, for at that time the Most High performed signs for them and stopped the channels of the river until they had passed over. Through the region there was a long way to go, a journey of a year and a half. And that country is called Arzareth. Then they dwelt there until the last times, and now when they are about to come again, the Most High will stop the channels of the river again, so that they may be able to pass over. Therefore you saw the multitude gathered together in peace, but those who are left of your people, who are found within my holy borders, shall be saved. Therefore, when he destroys the multitude of nations that are gathered together, he will defend the people who remain, and then he will show them very many wonders. I said, O sovereign Lord, explain this to me. Why did I see the man coming up from the heart of the sea? He said to me, just as no one can explore or know what is in the depths of the sea, so no one on earth can see my Son or those who are with him except in the time of his day. This is the interpretation of the dream which you saw, and you alone have been enlightened about this, because you have forsaken your own way and have applied yourself to mine. Have searched out my law, for you have devoted your life to wisdom and called understanding your mother. Therefore I have shown you this, for there is a reward laid up with the Most High, and after 3 more days I will tell you things and explain weighty and wondrous matters to you. Then I arose and walked in the field, giving great glory and praise to the Most High, because of his wonders, which he did from time to time, and because he governs the times and whatever things come to pass in their seasons. And I stayed there 3 days. So this is more prophecy. I think what's going on is he's talking more about this lion from the previous prophecy. I need some water. All right. Yeah, so just more prophecy. On the third day, while I was sitting under an oak, behold, a voice came out of a bush opposite me, and said, Ezra, Ezra. And I said, Here I am, Lord. And I rose to my feet, and then he said to me, I revealed myself in a bush, and spoke to Moses, when my people were in bondage in Egypt. And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt. And I led him up on Mount Sinai, where I kept him with me many days, and I told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times, and declared to him the end of times. Then I commanded him, saying, These words you shall publish openly, and these you shall keep secret. And now I say to you, lay up in your heart the signs that I have shown you. So, okay, this is a very important one. Then I commanded him, saying, These words you shall publish openly, and these you shall keep secret. So, I mean, he's talking about Moses right here, and this is Ezra's interpretation of the Torah up until his point. His interpretation is that there are many things within the Torah which are, open and to be taught, but he's saying that there's many coded stuff. Obviously there's coded stuff within his own works. And so this is how he interprets the Torah, right? These words you shall publish openly, and these you shall keep secret, right? So I think he's saying that there's a hidden code within the Torah, man. And now I say to you, lay up in your heart the signs that I have shown you, the dreams that you have seen, and the interpretations that you have heard, for you shall be taken up from among men. So lay up in your heart the signs that I have shown you, the dreams that you have seen. So in other words, don't tell us what he saw. Right? He's saying that everything that he's just written is not what he saw. And he's laying it up in his heart. So he knows more than he's letting on. He's he's a riddler. He's a riddler. Like his God is a riddler, right? He riddles to us as his God riddles to him. Let's see here. For you shall be taken up from among men, and henceforth you shall live with my son and with those who are like you, until the times are ended. For the age has lost its youth, and the times begin to grow old. For the age is divided into 12 parts, and 9 of its parts have already passed, as well as half of the 10th part. So too its parts remain, besides half the 10th part. Now therefore, set your house in order, and reprove your people. Comfort the lowly among them, and instruct those who are wise. And now announce, and now renounce, not announce. Let's see, the life that is corruptible. And put away from you mortal thoughts, and cast away from you the burdens of man, and divest yourself now of your weak nature, and lay to one side the thoughts that are most grievous to you, and hasten to escape from these times. For evils worse than those which you have now seen happen shall be done hereafter. For the weaker the world becomes through old age, the more shall evils be multiplied among its inhabitants. For truth shall go farther away, and falsehood shall come near. For the eagle which you saw in the vision is already hastening to come. Dun dun dun. This guy's dramatic. So, like now, therefore, set your house in order. Therefore what? Therefore what? Like how? Oh yeah, of course. Therefore, now therefore, there. Renounce the life that is corruptible and put away your mortal thoughts. Right? He's talking about, again, this is a condemnation of the Phoenician ways. The burdens, right? Phoenicians put a bunch of burdens upon man. Divest yourself now of your weak nature. The Phoenicians guilt you. they use guilt as a weapon. You are weak. You are sinful. You are weak. Corruptible, right? These are materialists. This is a man that's against materialism. Mortal thoughts. I don't know. I mean, this stuff up here about the 10th part. He's like dividing up the age for us, and then of course he makes that obvious conclusion. Let's see. Then I answered and said, "Let me speak in thy presence, Lord. For behold, I will go as thou hast commanded me, and I will reprove the people who are now living. But who will warn those who will be born hereafter? For the world lies in darkness, and its inhabitants are without light. For thy law has been burned, and so no one knows the things which have been done or will be done by thee. If then I have found favor before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I will write everything that has happened in the world from the beginning, the things which were written in thy law, that men may be able to find the path, and that those who wish to live in the last day may live." So, one of the things that just springs out at me is this Holy Spirit thing, right? And so, what is this Holy Spirit? And again, we just have to go back up here to find out what they mean by Holy Spirit. "These words you shall publish openly, and these you shall keep secret." Right? So he's telling us that he's writing with a spirit. You see, here it is again. "Lay up in your heart the signs that I have shown you." Right? Lay it up in your heart. Don't write it on the page. Right? And so he is writing not just with a spirit, but again, they're talking about holiness. Right? This is a different, holiness is simply a different sociological way to live. This is about science, right? And law, right? Because the difference between the two societies is a legal distinction, right? We're not talking about just like weird mystical shit right now. This is just all practical. And so he's going to write not just with a spirit, right? Where he's going to let you know some things, and you're going to be able to read this and learn that Yahweh loves the Jews and all this. You got some things, but there's some things that are going to be hidden, and so he's going to be writing with a spirit. But this spirit isn't just going to be a spirit; it's a Holy Spirit, right? Because this is a man that believes in a more whole life. Go spend time with your family. Go spend time, not just with your family, with your children, with your wife or husband, with yourself, not just to like nirvana. Like we all need nirvana time, but also to develop yourself. So you need a double time with yourself. Rest, but development. You need time for work, right? There's all these times in life, and if we don't get them all, then we will feel unsatisfied. I can't get no. We just won't be satisfied. So that's how I see Holy Spirit. I don't see it. We are corrupted with Greek philosophy in our minds. And so we all come up to the Torah, especially all these like very smart people who, all know all this like very smart Greek stuff. They'll come into the Torah with all these very smart Greek ideas in their mind, and then they just start, oh, spirit, that is theological, and yada 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 yada. Yeah, I don't see, uh, I see this as poetic rather than a, I guess, I don't know if it would be ontological description of God, but yeah, this is not a this is not theology. This is poetry up here. Um, and I'm not like I'm just trying to say what's in the text. This is not a polemic against Christianity or anything. I'm just like, this text. This is, I think, what it's saying. Um, He answered me and said, go and gather the people, and tell them not to seek you for 40 days, but prepare for yourself many writing tablets, and take with you Saraya, Dabria, Selemia, Ethanus, and Asiel. These 5, because they are trained to write rapidly. And you shall come here, and I will light in your heart the lamp of understanding, which shall not be put out until what you are about to write is finished. And when you have finished, some things you shall make public, and some you shall deliver in secret to the wise. Tomorrow at this hour you shall begin to write. Where are we? Let's see. 14. I think there's 17, so we're almost there. Looks like I might finish this after all. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. But I'm getting to the end here again, so this has been fun. Ezra.